Hello, welcome back to the Forbidden Land podcast. We have a really fun, light-hearted episode this week. Really fun and super light-hearted. And we're going to start it off with Israel. So at the beginning of April, I keep hitting the mic during this podcast. I really got to stop. At the beginning of April, Israel launched an attack on the I think it's like the Iranian consulate in Syria, in Damascus, Syria. And, this is like the first like diplomatic attack since like the 90s, I think. And, Iran was meeting there under the guise that international law would be followed. Of course, as we all love to point out, Israel does not care about international law. I think that's pretty well established at this point, that they could not give any less of a shit about international law. So they attacked the consulate, and they end up killing, I think, around 16 people. Now, last week, or I guess not last week, a few days ago, Iran decides, well, now we're going to bomb you. Which, like, anyone could have seen that coming from a mile away. I'm pulling up, I think this is a video of... No, it's not. I never saved the video of the missiles. So, I'm sure there's a video of it. Iran decided... Sorry, I thought Israel responded. Iran decided to launch a drone attack on Israel. Is there no footage of this? Come on, guys. No footage at all? Sorry, I thought I put it in the doc, and I guess I didn't. Oh, man. Nice. I didn't save the footage of the missiles. Interesting. So, I don't know. Imagine it. So, yeah, Iran launches a missile attack against Israel. Now, you might already assume, if you haven't heard already, what came of that attack. The Iron Dome caught some of it. The U.S. apparently even helped out with destroying some of the drones and some of the stuff that was fired at Israel. The UK apparently stepped in to some extent. Jordan was shooting down stuff. Iraq was shooting down stuff. Or was it Iraq or was it Saudi Arabia? Everything on the western part of the map was defending Israel against Iran. So, like, everything on the western side that wasn't Syria or Lebanon. So now that is officially a conflict where Israel started it, apparently. Which, like, let's be real, they've been attacking Syria head on now since they started this genocide in Gaza. They've also started attacking Lebanon. So now they're fighting a war against innocent civilians in Gaza, Hamas, I guess, which it seems more like a war on the civilians in Gaza than it is against Hamas. Like, let's be real. They're now fighting Lebanon on the northern front. They're fighting Syria for some fucking unknown reason. I guess because they really want to hold on to the Golan Heights. And now they're fighting Iran. And, like, even after that, Iran was like, we're not going to attack. I really only have the one reel as my source. I love that I read all these articles and went, I'm just not going to save them. But, yeah, so Iran was pretty much like, that's just our retaliatory strike. We're done. And now Israel is like, oh no, we're going to respond. There's been some reports that the U.S. has denied that the U.S. reached out to Tehran and was like, hey, can you let Israel launch a symbolic strike so they don't appear weak to their citizens. And Tehran was like, the fuck? And then leaked that info to the press. Allegedly, that's what was happening, which is really, it'd be really funny if the U.S. was like, can you give Israel a pity strike? Just a little pity strike. The U.S. is like that friend in the club that's embarrassed for his drunk ass, embarrassing ass racist friend. And he's like, can you just give him a pity fuck? Worst wingman on earth type shit. But yeah, so now we're in this kind of weird limbo period where if Israel responds, it risks Iran just full out obliterating Israel into the ground. Let's be so honest right now. The IDF is one of the most embarrassing armies in that region. And we've known that for a long time. They're incredibly unprofessional. There's a reason why they're just blanket bombing Gaza. Part of it is, they want to ethnically cleanse. That's the greater agenda, is they want to ethnically cleanse Gaza and then absorb that land into Israel and start building whatever they want on it and letting Israelis live there. That's the overall goal of the Netanyahu administration. That's always been his goal. It's always been the overall goal of the right-wing party in Israel, that they've wanted to get rid of as many Palestinians as possible to make room for the Israelis. And that's always been the goal since the 40s even. And so that's the greater agenda. But the IDF is also just so incompetent that I don't think they have any choice but to just blanket bomb Gaza. Think about it. If the U.S. wants to, kill an army somewhere in the Middle East, although they have killed a lot of civilians in those conflicts, not nearly to the degree that Israel is right now at this rate. Usually the U.S., when we were going after Osama bin Laden, we didn't just carpet bomb Pakistan. They found him in Pakistan, right? I don't want to make that. Yeah, Pakistan. Okay, I don't want to say that off the cuff and then I'm wrong. We didn't just blanket carpet bomb the capital of Pakistan and then be like, well, we probably got him. We sent a task force in there to kill him. In this scenario, it's like you're saying that a terrorist group has taken hostages of your civilians, and instead of precision infiltrating that region and trying to, conduct operations to preserve the hostages and save them, and even, kill some Hamas terrorists in the process, you're just going to dump the entire kitchen sink on them? It's like, well, you're probably going to hit some Hamas members, but you're going to hit a lot of civilians because of how densely packed Gaza is, and you're going to kill some of the hostages more than likely. It's like, unless you think they got the Osama bin Laden mountain bunker under Gaza, you're going to inevitably kill hostages. You've already inevitably killed a shitload of civilians. I mean, out of the 41,000 killed, I think they're saying 39,000 of them are just innocent civilians. And that's a generous estimate. I mean, more than likely, it's even more of a percentage of that being civilians. Because we don't know what's being claimed as Hamas and what isn't. We don't know how many people have actually died in this conflict. It could be more, because the people who are in charge of keeping track of that have either fled or don't have adequate communication outside the country or are dead. So, the IDF are incredibly incompetent. And now they're also fighting on the northern fronts against Lebanon, against Syria. And they're not doing so well in the Lebanon front. They've just started randomly attacking Syria. And they've been attacking Syria for a while. like long before this conflict. There's a whole history with Syria. But like, although there's a history with Lebanon, they're just like provoking the southern border of Lebanon and then going beyond that, which is really to provoke a full-on war with them. And it's like they're already struggling on that because, like I said, the IDF are a horrible army. But now they're trying to provoke an Eastern Front with Iran. And it's like, what is your goal here? Do you just want the whole Middle East to just come together and go, you know what? Why don't we just fucking wipe them out? Like, I'm not in support of that because there are innocent Israeli civilians living in Israel. Innocent civilians living in Israel. Not everyone in Israel is a monolith, obviously. Same way that not everyone in America is. So, obviously there are a lot of Israelis who don't support this, and there's already a sizable amount of Israelis, if not more than half of the population, who don't like Benjamin Netanyahu and his war cabinet. So I don't support wiping that country off the map. We shouldn't be glassing any countries here. The problem is that due to Netanyahu's administration's choices and actions during these last 8 months or however long it's been, that they're basically going to provoke a sizable chunk of the Middle East to just destroy Israel. And there's only so much I think the US is willing to do to back them up. I think the US is only willing to say so much. I mean, the US will probably say whatever it wants. I don't think it's willing to do as much as Israel thinks it's willing to do. I don't think the US is willing to actually put boots on the ground and fight Iran. I don't think they're willing to directly strike Iran. I think they might be still willing to fund this conflict, this war. I don't think they're willing to go anywhere beyond that, though, because it risks nuclear retaliation. It risks a full-out, like, this many countries on this side, this many countries on this side, World War level shit. And, I don't think the US is willing to do that. It's already deeply unpopular, so unpopular that we have gone full circle, and there are Trump supporters yelling Genocide Joe at Trump rallies, not realizing that when Trump enters office, you already know the history with Trump and Israel is that he basically recognized Jerusalem as, like, he moved the embassy there. He recognizes Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. He recognizes the Golan Heights as belonging to Israel, despite it being contested between Israel and Syria. He's super pro-Israel. I mean, all the Republicans are. They're either super pro-Israel and pro-Zionist, or they're so anti-Semitic they don't support Israel. Or they're so anti-Semitic they come back around and support Israel because they're evangelicals. And, when you have Trump supporters yelling Genocide Joe, not realizing Trump is just as genocidal as Joe Biden, if not way more, you've lost the plot. As Joe Biden in the Democratic administration, you've lost the plot. So I think no matter what the U.S. does, if it's supporting Israel in any way, they're going to lose popularity. Whoever's in office is going to lose immense popularity with the American people. I think if we actually start fighting Iran directly, it's going to lead to disaster. I think this whole thing is a disaster for Israel. If I was a Israeli citizen living there, I'd be beyond fucking pissed. Even if I was a Zionist, let's say I'm like pro wiping Gaza out and, building a hotel on it, I would still be very much pissed off that, the administration is risking the rest of the Middle East coming in and invading, or coming in and just destroying their country. I'd be way more upset about that, even as a Zionist. Like, if I lived, you get my point. If I lived in Israel, I'd be pissed about this move. I can't imagine there are too many supporters that support this move. I mean, surely they see what a disaster it's brewing when you are pitting now 4 countries against you. You have the terrorists in Gaza, Hamas, who are fighting you on the western side, Lebanon and Syria fighting you from the north, and now Iran fighting you in the east. I mean, fuck it, get Egypt involved, and now you got the whole smorgasbord. They'll fight you on the south, you know? So I don't understand what the goal is here with Israel. I think if they do a second strike, it will be nothing but a disaster. But what do I know? I wanted to watch this clip of the former Prime Minister of the UK, David Cameron, being asked about what he thinks of, like, what he thinks the UK would do if a country destroyed one of its consulates. So we're going to watch this.
Reckless and dangerous thing for Iran to have done. And I think the whole world can see all these countries that have somehow wondered, well, you know, what is the true nature of Iran? It's there in black and white.
What would Britain do if a hostile nation flattened one of our consulates?
Well, we would take the very strong action.
So let's get it on the record now. If a country destroyed one of the UK's consulates, they would take very strong action, in his words. You know, fumbling over himself because he's realizing what trap he's being led into with this one, making him look like the biggest hypocrite on earth.
And Iran would say that that's what they did?
Well, what they did, as I said, was a massive attack.
So they were right to respond, but they overreacted, is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that the attack they carried out was on a very large scale, much bigger than people accepted.
So he's saying that the attack they carried out was an overreaction. And I love this top comment. And Israel didn't overreact in Gaza. Exactly. You know, let's weigh the two here, that Hamas came and killed 1,200 people and took hostages. Israel's response is to glass the entire region, is to punish 39,000 at least civilians, because they are going after Hamas. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. It's to punish the civilians there for actions that Hamas took. Hamas, who was not that popular at the time of the attack, but who are growing in popularity now in that region, because who's going to side with the massive Western-backed government that is killing them at unprecedented rates over the group that's at least like somewhat aligned in their interests in some, you know, insane way. Yeah, so anyway, the attack that Iran launched on Israel was they launched a bunch of drones. Forgot how many there were. There were a lot. But 99% of the attack was intercepted. I believe only one person died. And also, I keep hearing conflicting information. I'll have to fact check it. I keep being told it's a 7-year-old Arab girl or it's a 10-year-old Arab girl. No one can give me an answer on how old the person was or who they were. So I'm going to have to look into that. But as far as I'm aware, one person died in the attack. So that versus the 16 that died in the consulate, I would say, you know, them not continuing their attacks after this, that's incredible mercy. I mean, me and John have talked about this before. Every time the U.S. attacks Iran, we are at Iran's mercy for a response. Iran could just choose to missile us into hell and then destroy the planet as a result, because we all have nukes. But they choose not to. So the fact that they chose to carry out just this attack, most of which Israel is completely capable of defending itself against, you know, because they take all of our tax dollars, so we would hope they're doing something with it. The fact that they're not doing anything further is an incredible mercy. Do I usually agree with what a lot of these countries do? Absolutely not. A lot of these countries are super backwards and barbaric and like incredibly violent, you know. But because I mean, you know, if you're gay and then you're in Iran, you're just gonna get fucking killed, pretty much. I mean, it's very well known, very well known. But do I think that Iran has a right to respond when their consulate gets destroyed for no reason by Israel? Yeah, I would say they probably have some kind of right to respond.
Well, countries have a right to respond when they feel they've suffered an aggression. Of course they do. But look at the scale of that response. Had those weapons not been shot down,
but they just overreacted.
There could have been thousands of casualties, including civilian casualties. I think that's a really important point to take into account.
I think it's also pretty obvious that it was a symbolic strike. Like, everyone, I'm sure, in that region knows that, you know, the Iron Dome exists, hence why Hamas hardly ever kills anyone with their rocket strikes, because they can't even make it over to anywhere without getting destroyed by the Iron Dome. Everyone knows about the Iron Dome. Everyone knows that Israel is, you know, pretty much on 24/7 surveillance by the U.S., by the U.S.'s Defense Department. So I'm pretty sure everyone knows that if you launch a strike against Israel, it's not going to be very successful. So everything kind of points to this being a symbolic retaliation from Iran of like, here's a little crumb of what we could do. We know you're capable of shooting this down, but if you respond, then the next strike might not be as prone to being stopped by your defenses. That's what it seems like. I would say this is some insane mercy by Iran in this situation. Everyone remembers how worried we were when Trump killed Soleimani in 2020. I mean, we were literally talking about World War III before COVID took our attention away from it. But, you know, we were at the full mercy of Iran's response, and they didn't really do anything. So I'm telling you, we pummel the Middle East all the time, and we are incredibly lucky we don't get a response from any of them. I would say killing 16 people in a consulate, I think 2 of them were high-ranking generals. One of the generals, I think, was a replacement for the one that, you know, the aforementioned one that was killed by Trump in 2020. I'm pretty sure he replaced that guy. So I would say doing that big of an attack on Iran, it was kind of understandable they were going to get attacked back. So I think the attack could have been far worse. I mean, all signs point to that being the case. But I think, you know, me and John have talked about this with each other, and I think that if Israel responds, I think Iran will maybe do one more response before, you know, if Israel then does another response after that, I think that's when the actual war will start. If they just go back and forth with each other like this, I think on the 3rd round, we could see a potential large-scale war of Iran just going, you know what, fuck it, and just trying to destroy Israel, which is really unfortunate. You know, the idea of Israel sounds nice. A nation where Jewish people of any kind of sect of Judaism, whether they're non-practicing, you know, culturally Jewish, or if they're Orthodox, or if they're just a practicing religious Jewish person. I think it's a really cool concept to have a country where they can be safe. Do I think the origins of Israel are deeply anti-Semitic in nature? Yes. We know at this point, if you study the history, that the Europeans, specifically the British who spearheaded this whole thing, simply just wanted Jews out of Europe. I mean, that was like their whole motivation for the creation of Israel, and the Holocaust is what really gave them an excuse to push the Jewish people out of Europe into Israel. but I think in theory, a Jewish nation state, maybe not nation state, a country that's advertised as being a Jewish friendly country, but still allows other cultures and religions to live there as well, especially with it being the home of Jerusalem. I think that concept sounds nice. I think it's incredibly upsetting and disappointing that an ideology like Zionism, that is spearheaded by Benjamin Netanyahu, I think it's really sad that an ideology like that and an administration like that has jeopardized a concept such as this. I think it's really sad that Benjamin Netanyahu inches Israel closer and closer to annihilation because of all the war-hungry moves he keeps making, all of the violent, disgusting actions his administration keeps taking. I think it's really unfortunate for the Israeli people. Usually I'm pretty sympathetic towards civilians like that even side with these ideologies, because part of me thinks, maybe they just don't fully understand that their ideology is going to be what gets their country destroyed. The violent ideology of Zionism, of we need to ethnically cleanse this area and make it Israel, and then we're going to, some of the more radical people in that area will go, oh well, now we got to take over the rest of the Middle East, and it's that's what's going to get you killed, especially when you have one of the dumbest and least combat ready armies in the region. I mean, civilian conscripts, and it's basically here's the training, shoot this gun, okay, you're in. And it's and now y'all are losing against Lebanon pretty much. So I think it's really unfortunate that an administration like this can pretty much lead to the destruction of what could have been an interesting and maybe even good country idea, but just won't be. So anyways, let's watch Tim Pool talk about the kitty litter thing again. So as you all might know, I don't know how much people know about this now, because this is a 2-year-old story, but Joe Rogan on the Joe Rogan Experience was talking to Tulsi Gabbard and decided to start talking about some dumb fake shit that he read somewhere on the internet. And it was essentially somebody claiming that schools have litter boxes in the classroom so furries can piss in them. And then the Republicans picked it up and they were like, oh my God, they're putting kitty litters in the classrooms for people who identify as cats. And I have an article pulled up here about it. But, soon after, people somehow informed Joe Rogan that the litter boxes are not actual litter boxes. They're buckets that have kitty litter in them to absorb blood during a school shooting. And the buckets include other supplies like first aid and all this stuff. It's preventative, not preventative. It's kits for school shootings, or school shooting kits, pretty much. Incredibly depressing concept that is unfortunately necessary. And, Joe Rogan recanted his statement. He was like, you know what I heard wasn't true. And then he recanted what he said. I guess Tim Pool is running out of shit to talk about because he went on a show recently. I have not watched this clip, by the way. He went on a show and talked about this story. Look at how jaded he looks. He's not looking too hot. He looks aged, dude. Holy shit.
Oh, man. And where was it? It was a long time ago.
So, he has the same article pulled up. So he has the he even has the gall to acknowledge that this is an old ass story. Here we go.
Yeah, I was in LA, I think. And someone said they were a fan of the show or something like this. I don't believe it. I completely ignored it. I don't know. I didn't really think much of it, I guess. And then we have Joe Rogan's show talking about it. Says a friend called him and told him this. Many Republicans saying it. And NBC News just said, nah, it's fake. It's not real. Why? School said so. Takes on a life of its own. In an episode of Spotify's Joe Rogan,
he's saying the school is lying about it. Guess how verifiable it is. Call your teacher, say, hey, can I meet with you after school with my child? Walk into the classroom, do a quick peek around, and then after you've realized you're embarrassed and you're there for no reason because you're nuts, bullshit your way out of the meeting. There you go. There's how you verify it. By going, hey, what's that bucket in the corner for? Oh, it's the school shooting kit. And then you go, oh. And then you leave. Go and even look in it. Look in the bucket. This is so stupid. I went to school in the 21st century. You know, unless things have radically changed since COVID, these weren't things. They're teaching you liberal transgenderism in the classroom. When? I took a biology course. It was about as normal as it could be. Not once was any of that mentioned. You know, a lot of the stuff we were learning was actually very pulled back and a little conservative. I think the only class I had that was even a little honest was American history, and it's because I went to a slightly different school for that. So they were a little bit more honest about slavery in that class. And about what the Civil War was over, which is kind of shocking considering what state I'm in. It's just, this is so easily verifiable, and to go, the school said it, so it must be true. We're not going to believe the schools. Who are you going to believe? And this is why this ideology is so brain rotting, why it fails so often, because it literally just tells you, oh, this evidence that's been presented to you, don't believe it. My source, I made it the fuck up. Why should you not believe it? I don't know, because I said you shouldn't. It doesn't make any sense, dude. He's literally going, oh, this thing that was debunked 2 years ago, I'm bringing it back. I don't actually believe the people that told me it's not real. Instead, I believe, Tulsi Gabbard 45 on fucking Twitter who claimed it. I'm going to believe her. Or, that's where it originated from, probably. It got spread off to 1,000 different networks, and now it's unknown where this even came from in the first place.
A podcast last week, again, this was 2022, Rogan told Tulsi Gabbard that a litter box was installed in a school that his friend's wife worked at for a girl who identifies as an animal. A clip of discussion quickly began to circulate on social media. Rogan did not name the school, and his publicist does not respond to a request for comment. Yes, that's also called circumstantial evidence.
What? I can't tell if he's saying that about Joe Rogan or about the publicist not responding to comment. I can't tell if he's defending this or not right now. I gotta rewatch that part.
A clip of discussion quickly began to circulate on social media. Rogan did not name the school, and his publicist does not respond to a request for comment. Yes, that's also called circumstantial evidence. Now, the question is, I'd love, and to be fair, I take it with a grain of salt. Was Joe talking to a guy who said, my wife said that, at the school she works at, there's a girl who's an animal, blah, 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 and then it's like, it's hearsay? Or is it Joe said that he and his friend's wife was talking, like Joe's at a party. His friend is there and his wife.
Dude, just get down on your knees and suck Joe Rogan's dick already. Please. Please, dude. You wanna. Oh my God. Let's say actually he's at a party, because if you say it face to face, it makes it more true than if he heard it secondhand through the wife's husband. But if he was talking to the wife at a party in person, oh my God, well, then it could be true.
Wife joins him. He says, "Oh, nice to meet you." And she's talking like, "Look, I work at a school and they put a litter box in the bathroom." And he went, "What?" And then he said it on his show.
Before saying that.
Oh my God, it's like, oh, the evidence is against me. Time to make some shit up. This is one of the things you learn when you start to pull back from going over to the right. When I was much younger and very naive about politics and didn't know much about it, one of the things I had to learn was how conservatives will use certain strategies and arguments to try to convince you that their argument actually makes more sense than the rational evidence-based one. And they'll use certain tactics. One of those being, well, I'm actually going to lead you down this blind fork of the conversation where I make up a plausible scenario that will somehow convince you that this sounds a little bit more true than you previously thought. So Tim Pool going like, well, what if actually he's at a party and the wife shows up? She's like, "Hello, nice to meet you." This is all just his headcanon at this point. But he's trying to distract you from the original argument. Because then you start thinking about the scenario, and then you start to just like convince yourself, oh yeah, you know, what if that did happen? Yeah. And somehow that makes it truer than if he heard it from the friend over the phone. Yeah, you know, actually now that is starting to make a little bit of sense. And so when you fall for stuff like that, it's how they get you. It's how they rope you in without any evidence to support their argument. You know, we have no idea truly how Joe Rogan heard this information other than him saying that his friend told him that his wife said there are litter boxes in the bathroom. Like, that is like all we have to go off of. We have no idea if that's really how he learned about this, but it's way more plausible that he heard about it from the friend and the friend was recounting what his wife told him. That's way more plausible because Joe Rogan said that's what fucking happened. That's what he said. He never said he heard it from the wife directly at a party.
That's not true. It's an internet rumor. So I contacted him again and I said, tell me exactly what she said and contact her and find out. She no longer works at that school. She works for another school. She contacted the other school. She didn't get a response. I don't think they actually did it. I think there was discussions about doing
Here's
it because
recanting.
there's one particularly wacky mother, but it doesn't seem that there's any proof that they put a litter box in there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Vindicated right there. God, what are you going to believe more? That him and the friend were chatting it up and the friend goes, you know, my wife told me blah, 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 blah. Joe Rogan goes, oh, that's interesting. And then he just says it out loud on the podcast. And Tim Pool's like, what if Joe Rogan went to a party and the wife was there and she went, get this, Joe, I saw litter boxes in the school bathroom that I work at, or in the bathroom at the school that I work at. Can you believe that? And Joe's like, interesting. Hey, I'm going to go on my podcast. I'm going to tell people about that. Hey, did you guys hear? Like, what are we on? And this is exactly what I mean by this is one of their tactics in discussion is they go, here's some made up scenario of what alternatively could have been the case. And I'm going to hope that you get distracted enough to believe that instead of the thing that Joe Rogan said happened. Insane. Are you going to believe this delusional bullshit story or the thing that came out of Joe Rogan's fucking mouth about how he heard that information? And how he even called the dude back and was like, do you have like an actual source on that? And then when the guy was like, not really, he went, well, shit, guess it's not true. I'm taking it back. It's like the only thing he's done recently, not even that recent, that was like good, is retracting a fucking statement, dude. Ugh. And he's he's taking this article, Tim Pool is, he's taking this article and he's trying to discount it. He's basically like, you know what, I'm just going to choose not to believe this NBC article. Look at how much is in this article, how much work they put in to verify if this story was real or not. Dude, they like contacted everyone under the sun for information on this, for a crumb of proof that this could possibly be real. You know how much the news wants that to be real, so people will click their articles for once, so people will watch their news broadcast for once? What political gain do they get from denying that there would be litter boxes in the bathroom? You know how sensational that sounds? Breaking news tonight. You know, oh, there was a fucking cat box in the goddamn bathroom. Dude, people would eat that shit up. They'd eat it up. The news loves stories like that, man. There's no liberal plot to suppress something like that. Oh, what? Breaking. Israel is bombing Iran, Syria, and Iraq at the same time? Is that true? This is from half an hour ago? I gotta verify this before I just straight up show it. No way, it's all the same clip. Explosions reported in central Iran. Simultaneous reports of blasts in Iraq and southern Syria. The U.S. confirms to ABC News that Israel carried out a strike in Iran. Damn, this happened while I was recording. Oil prices surge. Fuck off. Gas is going up. Shit! It's the first thing out of an American's mouth. Oh, fuck. Gas is gonna go up. Shut up. What am I looking at? Apparently this is a clip of missiles raining down on an undisclosed location. I don't know if this is in Iran, Syria, Iraq. That's why I'm not showing it. I'm sure I'll know more in a few minutes. Okay, so this story is roughly an hour old. I just want to verify something before I keep talking about it. Not bad. Where's the explosion? Maybe Iran has its own similar defense system, you know? That's why nothing explodes in this fucking video clip. They're all like copy and paste tweets. The Iranian air defense has been activated? Okay. So that would explain why all the explosions are in the air. Alright, chill out. There's an explosion map, I think. I mean, damn, if you just like fly a plane in a straight line above all these countries, then yeah, I guess you could bomb all of them in one straight run. I kind of forgot how close together all these countries are. Yeah, I guess there's reports coming from the Middle East right now that Israel's bombing southern Syria, Iraq, and Iran. I guess by the time this comes out, this information will already be a couple days old. Or a day and some change old, because this comes out early morning Saturday. But, interesting. This site is reporting that Israel has reportedly struck sites in Iran, Syria, and Iraq. Casualties and damage are unknown. This is 6 minutes ago. But it's not hard to figure out what they're trying to do. Oh, a little bit of an opinion piece. So because they released something yesterday that said Israel's instigating a regional war with Iran. It seems like it's legit. Fuck! I just talked about it at the beginning of this episode. that Israel's best move would be to not strike back. That it would be their best case scenario to not get wiped off the planet. Now they're introducing Iraq into it. That's 5 countries. Gaza, which has Hamas. Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran. Come on. Iran being the more serious player in all of that, because they have the power to just bomb the shit out of them. Oh my god, dude. Idiots. I mean, call me a armchair war expert if you want, but it's like anyone with a fucking functional brain above the age of 14 could fucking, with any kind of like civics course from high school or any kind of like world history course, who have looked into any war across history, could tell you this was a horrible move from Israel. This was not a good move. I'm sure I'm sure the war cabinet thinks that in the eyes of the Israelis, they'll be hailed as like, yay, thank you, government, you're really helping us out. But I think a lot of Israelis acknowledge that a strike in retaliation to Iran, who was originally striking Israel out of retaliation, is a bad move. It just equals bad news for everyone involved. And if you think like, oh, well, Iran attacked Israel, you think they're not going to respond? They shouldn't. Israel started it. They shouldn't respond. They already got lucky that they only suffered like 1 casualty and minimal damage from this first attack. You think the second attack is going to be just as light? It's not. It's going to be just as detrimental, just as devastating, if not more. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I was on autopilot saying that. It's going to be worse. It's going to be an attack that could possibly even subvert the Iron Dome, where it's going to require manpower to actually defend the country, not an automated missile blowing up system that we pay for, by the way. It just means more of my tax money is going to go to this fucking useless forever war that's being started by Israel. I mean, there's a reason why they call Israel America Light. You know, we have America Classic, America 2, which is Australia, and then America Light, which is just Israel, because they're backed by us. We basically babysit them, you know, and then they go and start forever wars in classic America fashion. Except, I don't think they have the juice to be playing with in this scenario. Ay. I'm looking more into it. But yeah, it seems that Israel has struck Iran, and then they've also possibly struck Syria and Iraq. I would not want to be in Iran, Iraq, or Syria, or Israel for that matter. I would not want to be in any of those countries right now. But, you know, I say that as a privileged American who thinks he's so sheltered in America from all this. I mean, there is not much. If Iran gets involved, there's really not much stopping them from just sending a missile over here and it actually hitting us. So, that's what I'm saying, man. I don't understand why we have to have the bi-yearly war break out. But my God. I can't even talk about Tim Pool crying about kitty litter in the bathrooms without Israel blowing up another country in the Middle East. See what
And also, when you go back to the nuclear deal that was signed a number of years ago that the United States
It's so funny when people find out when I joke about like, oh, we're bringing on General Spider Rapist. Like, they don't realize that I'm actually making a joke about a real person that CNN brings on all the time.
Enrichment, and then transport or move that enrichment to a military
What
facility.
does that
In
mean?
other
He's not the
words,
only
right
one. There's a
outside
bunch
the
of
gate
generals with
into
like
another
psychopathic
compound
names like
with
that.
very short movement requirements, distribution requirements.
What does that
might
mean?
be difficult to detect. So it's not surprising at all. And so going after
I joined at such a perfect time.
Ideally, we certainly don't know what took place. But
Bring it
there
on,
will be a
Spider
requirement to
Rapist.
do some very
What
serious-
does that
Love fucking
mean?
Getting, like weird ass names, bro. They literally get like they get funny ass names off of like how badly they did war crimes.
Because his name is
and
General
nuclear
Spider Marks.
progress.
Oh
The
my
development of
God.
this capability.
General
That's
John
what
Literal
we're
Killer
If
Smith.
it
I
was
love that.
simply
Some guy in the
to
chat said that.
describe a capability the
God,
Iranians have,
dude.
it's no mystery to
What
the
a fucking good ass
Iranians
time to
conduct
join.
military
I just want to know
operations
more
along
about
multiple
this, and
lines
the
of
only
effort
live source I can really find
We see that
right now is
Hezbollah,
Hassan,
Hamas,
because I don't have access to
efforts
CNN right now. I
elsewhere
don't have
in the
Hulu
region, and then conducting
logged in
this
at the
strike
moment.
into Iran. I mean, this is quite amazing, not surprising entirely.
But yeah, I guess they have some pundit.
Incredibly
They're showing
capable
Iran right
military
now.
force. So if they're not sending a message, they're trying to achieve a result.
See, okay, there you go. Iranian officials and outlets are claiming that all explosions heard tonight are due to interceptions and that no explosions have occurred on the ground. Dude, regardless of how limited this fucking strike was, it's still insane. Okay? The fact that it happened at all is a direct shot, not at Israel, not at Iran, is a direct shot at America. Okay? Biden's out here being like, please keep doing the genocide in Rafah. We were lying. We were wrong. Okay? We were lying and we were fucking wrong when we said you can't do the Rafah genocide. Just keep genociding the Palestinians. Just don't strike Iran. And then like the next hour, they're like, yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Did you say strike Iranian soil directly?
He's so right.
Because
I
I
hate
think we
it.
got the
I hate
wrong.
that he's right about how
It cut out a little bit in the conversation that we were having.
I hate how right this is, because it really is that. It really is the US government going, you know what, fine, you can advance your genocide, just please, we beg of you, we beg, don't strike Iran. And then they do it anyways.
Talked about the potential for striking Israeli nuclear targets earlier before the strike happened. I think that's what you're confusing this with, unless there's something new happening. I can't believe Iran is playing the nothing happened card. I mean, it doesn't seem to be that severe, considering that people did hear explosions. There are Iranian chatters and shit, but I haven't seen a single fucking piece of footage, not one, from the actual explosion. That is a little bit unique. And the only thing that you guys have sent me so far have been explosions from other places.
For over the past hour, this is a very visible strike. And now we have this confirmation that this was indeed Israel that is attacking Iran. So major questions now, where we go from here. We have to get a much better sense.
This is
indeed,
the footage
Israel
that I refused
the
to
US
show
have to have a much better
because I
sense
couldn't verify it, by
of
the
what
way.
was struck, what the damage was done, in order to be able to try to predict how Iran might respond. But we have gotten some very serious words from a whole range of Iranian officials over the course of the past few days, the latest of whom was this Iranian foreign minister in New York with our colleague Aaron Burnett tonight, warning that if Israel were to attack Iran, that they would strike back hard, that they would expand their range of targets beyond just military, like last weekend, to include civilian, financial, and others, and that they could do
what's
so
the source on
immediately.
that?
One thing to note from the foreign
Yeah,
minister's
everyone's
interview,
even asking,
he
what's
said
the
that
source?
they
I
would
don't know
not
how
be
valid
going
this
after
is.
U.S.
Yeah, even
targets.
Hassan is questioning it. That's why I'm like being careful with what I show on the podcast, because I don't want it to be like I show that, oh, Israel said they're gonna fucking shit in Tehran's front yard. And it's like, I can't verify
wrong from senior administration.
What are
Source
you doing,
my
bro? What is
ass.
Bricks Info? What is Bricks Info? What is this? What is this? What is this? What are you doing? Bro, just send me Hinkeldink as a fucking source. Hey, up next on Bricks News, dude. Fucking.
Oh man, he's so right though. He's so he's so right though. That's what I'm saying. It'll be like
Good stuff. For this is an educational moment.
it'll be like the same like 8 bot accounts posting the same like alleged here's the strike footage, and it's like I'm not going to show that cuz you all have duplicate tweets and I can't verify the footage.
Because they
But the US has apparently confirmed that
way of verifying information.
the US has
It's
apparently
no
confirmed
different
now that Israel did
me
indeed attack Iran, but
than sending me like the octopus that found picked the right presidential candidate 8 years in a fucking row. It's literally no different than that octopus, okay?
the octopus that picks the World Cup winner.
I don't know how many fucking picks that octopus made. Why am I watching local news programming right now?
Yeah, so dude, this is such a bad
crazy.
move. I want to ask John about it real fast.
But that's what it is. It's the same fucking energy. This is the guy who tweets from that.
I'm asking John real quick. This leftist account that I follow.
Well, I take back everything I said. It does seem
Oh
unironically
my god.
like
Just posted a really funny
It's
reaction
pretty
picture to
reliable.
this. I'm gonna ask him what he
I
thinks.
trust Matt with my life, dog.
Cause this is crazy. I want to know if he'll actually pick up my call.
Thank you for understanding changing opinions. Yeah.
I doubt he's actually gonna pick it up. Could even be sleeping right now. It is 9 o'clock where or almost 10 o'clock where he is. Come on. Come on.
Bro, check OSINT Brad DEFCON USA is a reliable source. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna pick up.
Military units that the Israelis thought was high-value targets.
I can't believe I'm saying
I'll just
this, but if
text
you wanna
him.
Send me reliable information. Send
Thoughts
it from the fucking war
on
perverts, not OSINT
Israel
accounts. Dudes
striking
that work for like
Iran,
the FDD, okay? I hate
Iraq,
to admit this, but they are probably going to be the only
and
source of
Syria.
reliable information in moments like this.
right now.
It sucks.
Who knows? Maybe by the time this episode comes
The
out,
foundation for defending democracy. Yes, you heard.
Israel
me,
and Iran
okay?
don't exist
Think
anymore.
tank foreign policy and
Because I think they both have nukes, don't they?
Even they are unreliable in real time. But at least they are fucking a little bit more reliable than
Yeah,
OSINT
I think
guys.
they both have
While looking
nukes.
at
So
those
I mean,
guys,
it's literally on the
reposting
table if they want
their
to
posts
decide to
anyway.
kill themselves in the whole world.
And also some Telegram shit.
So, like how he's teaching the chat on how media literacy works now. So this is the strike footage that I was referring to, that I was being cautious about. But yeah, I guess it's confirmed they
Like
did
BNO
strike
News
Iran
is
at
not
least.
great either. But this is at least like something that I've seen a lot. Phytux is a little bit more.
Yeah,
reliable, I guess.
at least it's confirmed now though that they did strike Iran and not they did strike Iran. I don't know if it's confirmed yet if they struck Iraq and Syria. That's just what I was seeing on all
There's
the
been no air strike against
reports,
Jahan
but
or other parts of the country. They only
um,
made a failed and humiliating attempt to fly
yeah, I'm not
quadcopters. They
sure.
were all shot down. God, I hate Marco
One of the big
Rubio.
questions, of course, is also what is
Oh,
Israel's
Lord.
strategy? Is it seeking to prevent a nuclear weapon?
It seems for people who are saying like, should I be worried? We don't know yet. We don't know what Iran will do in retaliation, but it does feel like the Iranian statements that have come out thus far have been very restrained. considering the minimal impact that this attack had. It still is a violation, but I guess they don't consider this to be as severe of a violation as the red lines that they said they would have. Fars News Agency is good, obviously. This morning, some local sources reported this was. Wait, oh, this is. We covered this already, yeah. Some local sources reported the sound similar to explosion was heard.
It just feels like.
Fars reporters show that there was no explosion in Tabriz, and the air defense fired upon seeing.
It feels like this attack failed about as much as the Iran one did, except the Iran one didn't really fail, right? Because that was their goal, was to do a symbolic strike. It feels like this might also be a symbolic strike because of how minimal the damage was. Because if this was Israel's genuine attempt at a strike, weak.
What?
What did I just hear?
Sirens activated in northern Israel. Yeah, I mean,
Just heard something weird. Heard like a bug or something.
It's different.
If this was Israel's genuine attempt at an actual legitimate response, it pretty sad. But I think this is just another symbolic strike.
But something to remember is that given
sirens are on in northern
Given
Israel,
the fact that we do not fucking know. Yeah, there you go. Iranian state TV is reporting that several small drones were shot down in the airspace of Isfahan province. So here's the thing. Given the fact that.
So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end the episode just because, you know, I don't have any more information. I doubt I'm going to get any more in the next few minutes. And this is going to come out on Saturday morning, Eastern Standard Time. So, and I guess incredibly early in the morning for anyone in the West Mountain Time or Central. But my information could be outdated by now. You know, maybe Iran has responded. I kind of feel like they won't respond until a few days from now. But very alarming that Israel even responded in the first place. But it seems like in the totality of their response that it was a very weak response. I don't know about the reports of Syria and Iraq, but if they struck Iraq, dude, it's like, what are you doing, man? It better have just been Iran and Syria. Not that it's good that they even struck them in the first place, but like if you're roping now Iraq into it, what are you doing? So anyways, that's gonna be the end of the episode. Might have a guest episode next week if I can actually get my ass on it. So yeah, have a safe week. Hopefully nothing catastrophic comes of this event. And yeah, follow subscribe to the Patreon, subscribe to the channel, maybe. We're on Spotify, YouTube Music, and we have a Discord. So, all right. That'll be it. Bye-bye.